So welcome and thank you for joining us today on our final of our 6-part communication series.
That's it. And where are we? Gatloi.
Gatloi, Sirichat, Chonburi, Thailand, where it's not
famous.
cold.
Yeah, where it's not cold. And this is a special episode on missionary communication, how to communicate to the people that keep you alive. And so if you're a partner of missionaries, it's good to listen to, but particularly for missionaries, we want to go over some really key things because these issues come up a lot in our lives. And so we're challenged, really. And I think underneath it all, it seems to me that we are looking for partners. We want to form partnerships. We're not looking for sponsors, not looking for, you know, a sugar daddy, not looking for supporters or anything like that. But really the idea is partners, because we want to share the fruit that we can bear on this side of the world with the people that are our partners.
Yeah, we want people who are tied into us because of the vision and the call that they have on their lives as well, right?
That's right.
Because if it was just about money, you can find money from other sources.
True.
But it's not about money. It's the way that God has set up His kingdom to work, where we work together in partnership. We reap the reward, we reap the benefit of the relationship, and people at home get to partake of the things that we get to do here, because not everyone can come to Southeast Asia, not everyone can come to Gatloi and minister here.
That's right. And so it's really about that agreement that Jesus talked about. If any two of you agree as concerning anything, you know, that it'll be done for us. And when we have partners, we're walking in agreement. So missionaries, here we are talking to you today, and this is our challenge. When you're thinking about your partners and they're looking at you on the mission field, we've got to kind of almost second guess what's going on in their minds and their hearts, because we want to answer the questions that are pertinent, not even if they're not asking those questions. And so we don't know as missionaries how much support's going to come a month, you know, that kind of thing. It's all up in, it's really a very unique way to live, actually.
A little bit stressful sometimes.
It can be, and we've been doing this, well, Mom and me have been doing it for 38 years now, and you were there too, but you didn't have to have partners in those days.
I wasn't worried at that time.
I was your partner.
Yes.
And so it took, you know, a lot of concentration, a lot of effort, and a lot of work to make sure that we're communicating with people so they actually know what's going on.
And it's one of those things that is going to never end. You're never going to get to the point where you have your partners and you're good to go and there's no more communication that happens. And I think that's part of what you kind of are hoping for as a missionary, that at some point you're not going to have to do this anymore. But the truth of the matter is, even when you do have a good support base, or when you don't, it doesn't change the fact that this is something that is ongoing. It's part of our responsibility, because it's not just about having people know what we're doing so they feel like their money's going to a good place. We're in partnership. We're working together.
That's it, exactly. And missionaries, a lot of times you'll of course experience this, that there's times when we need to purchase something like a vehicle or, you know, land or property, whatever it may be. And so the whole thing is just so unpredictable.
And it seems like a really big job.
It really does. And then we got to travel. We travel all over Asia. You got to get back to your home country sometimes, and those are all huge bills. You know, I can remember when we traveled, we had 4 kids, right? Those days, 3 kids, 4 kids, and 4 kids. And every time we paid out the airplane ticket bill, it's like, you know what? I could have bought a new car.
It's true.
But
our grandparents would have never met us. They wouldn't have known what we looked like.
They wouldn't have had any idea. So that wouldn't be good anyway. Okay, so our personal finances as missionaries, here's the key. They're everybody's business. And you think that might be a double standard? Well, maybe it is, but the fact is that if we're partners in this thing, then it is their business. And lots of people have an idea how much you should be paid, and it depends on what they believe about missionaries. And there's people that think that you should be poorer than everybody else. There's people that think that you should have everything you need. And and I think we just want to help our partners, cast vision to our partners and ourselves, that this is God's vision, it's God's purpose, and we're based on, it's not a need-based thinking, right? The whole deal is on production and accomplishment based, and that's really what we're going for.
The final challenge of missionaries is that partners are not obligated to pay us.
That's right. You're not obligated. Nobody's obligated. See, if you're working for an employer, and this is the thing, right? You kind of think, oh man, it should be nice, you know, your paycheck comes every year or every month and that kind of thing. But with partners, it's not like that at all. There's no obligation there. They partner with us and they send in those donations, that money that helps us, by a result as a result of the way that we communicate with them and maintain that partnership.
So these are unique challenges that we have, and we have to be aware of them, because if we're not aware of them and you ignore them, it kind of hinders the way that you communicate with people, right? If you feel like I shouldn't let people know what my budget is or what my monthly expenses are, and it kind of closes that door of communication. And so we got to have this idea that it's different from everybody else, but it's just the way that it is, and it's totally fine that way. And the more upfront and honest and open we are, the more people understand, because a lot of times people are assuming things and they don't have all of the information, and it's because we're not giving them the information that they need.
That's right, and I think that's a real key too, Becky. It's you know, when missionaries are struggling for a lack of finances or whatever it may be, the responsibility comes back to us, and we have got to do the work of communicating. That's really what there's just no other way. And a lot of times they think, well, man, let's just believe God, and you know, God will touch people's hearts, and that's great. But God's going to touch people's hearts through your testimony, through what you say, through your vision, and
it's kind of like getting people saved, right? You can pray for the lost, but if you never share the gospel to them, and it's the same with our finances, you know. And a lot of times it's like, I have the faith to move across the nations and to, you know, but I don't have the faith that when I speak and ask people for finances that they're going to give to me. And so it's kind of like a weird thing in our thinking that we have to overcome. That's where the struggle is in what we actually believe, our perception about it. And I know it's uncomfortable to ask, but this is where we are. This is who we are. And we just have to get over ourselves, you know, and just be willing to ask and let people know, okay, this is who we are, this is what we're doing, and would you like to partner and support me?
And the ask too is, I mean, it's not for any selfish motive, is it really? We're asking people to take part of an opportunity that we're giving them, really. And that's
right. And if people misunderstand that ask, then those probably aren't the people that you want to partner with you anyways, right? So just be bold and do it.
Yep, you haven't lost anything. All right, so let's talk about 6 keys to communication for missionaries, all right? And the first one is that if you don't communicate specifically to me, you haven't communicated at all. And this one has always actually been a bit of a frustration for me, because nobody puts out stuff like we do. You know, we did 12 years of weekly television program, and still people would say, Al, you don't communicate. And I'm like, seriously, what do you need? Oh, well, actually, I need a letter to me that says, dear, whatever your name is, because then you know that I'm communicating to you. And so that's really the key. People want personal communication. We found the same thing with churches. Churches will say, you know, send us a video report. And you can have a generic video report that you send to everybody. That's not what they want, the one they want. They want to say, hello there, church family in whatever town you're in or whatever. And you know, and be interested and talk to them. And so, and again, it is a lot of work, but it works well.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the things with communicating specifically to nowadays, it's so easy with Messenger and Facebook. You just drop a line and say, thinking of you today, or send them a picture of something that you're doing today. You know, a lot of times we're willing to do that with people that we just meet up with, and our partners need that same kind of connection as well.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, don't take them for granted. All right, so the other side of the world is out of sight, but it's your lifeline, so don't neglect your partners. And the key is to get to know them. Do you know your partners? And I'm just going over, it's a new year here, and I'm going over our entire database, looking at all the names, and not only just praying for them and believing God for great things, but also making sure everything's in order, making sure everybody has the right email address and those kind of things. And what I find is that's my job, because I'm the guy that knows the people that partner with us, and so you've got to give personal attention to that.
Yeah, that's right. Also, one of the keys in communicating is you've got to present yourself, your vision, and your plan. We're not begging for money. We're actually leaders who are leading things in the ministry, and we're letting people know what we do. And this is one of the things that, I mean, even just a couple months ago, I was really challenged by, because we had somebody who was partnering with us and they no longer partner with us. And so the question was, you know, thank you for your partnership and we really appreciate it, but could you just let us know, give us some feedback? And one of the things that they said was, well, we don't really know what you do, which to me was like a bit of a shock, because I'm like, you've been partnering with us for like a while now, you know, a long time. But then I thought, you know, it's true, because we assume that people know us and what we're doing. And, you know, even though we're sending pictures and we're sending testimonies, we have to be very clear. Here's who I am. Here's what I do. Here's, you know, and just because people see us on Facebook doesn't mean they actually know what we do.
It's true.
And so we have to make sure that we're very clear in communicating what we're doing, and just saving the world isn't clear.
That's right. And that thing leaks. I mean, it really does leak. The vision leaks out, and so that's really key. Then the fourth key is to say thank you. Say it immediately. Say it knowledgeably. Say it sincerely. Right? We need to thank people. And I think it's not that people are looking for thanks.
No.
The missionaries. It's the fact is that they want to be confident that you received what they sent you. And this is a huge challenge actually for us, because you got people that'll give something to their church, and for their church to send it to the organization, and for the organization to send it to someone. And by the time you get it, you have no idea where it came from. Yeah,
or how long it's taken in that process too, right?
That's true.
Because people give in advance, you get at the end of the month, and sometimes there's miscommunication on that end where you don't get the full information that you need. So it is a responsibility we have to the best of our ability, to the best of our knowledge, to make sure that we're on top of who's giving to us, and making sure that we're connecting with them and letting them know that we've received it. And
for you partners, this would be an extremely big help, is if you sent a gift. I mean, we just tell people in our magazine is if you want to send something to us, send it to us. Don't send it to somebody else. But the fact is that if you need to send it through your church or whatever arrangement you have locally, let us know. Just drop us a line. So today I sent you a gift of such and such. And tell you what, you'll get a thank you right now, and we'll be watching for it to make sure it comes through. I mean, I had a guy come up to me a few years ago and he said, you know, Pastor Al, we've been supporting you for 2 years. You've never said thank you. And I'm like, sorry, I didn't know. And so I went back and traced it, and we actually hadn't received it. And so, you know,
sometimes
it really wrecks stuff. Because it goes through so many channels, it can be confusing.
Okay.
All right.
So another key for communication, number 5, if you're keeping track, is be accountable. And so basically that means you got to be willing to answer the questions that you think people are asking.
That's right.
People want to know, like I remember we just did our missionary weekend and talking to Renee a little bit, one of our other missionaries, she was saying that she actually sends her partners her budget, her monthly budget, which I thought that's actually a really good idea. Because yes, it's not really people's business, but actually it is, you know, because they are the ones that are supporting you, and so they want to know what your needs are and how much you're spending on rent and how much you're spending on food and those kind of things. And so don't be shy about letting people know. In it, like, just be accountable, be open with everything, right? What you actually have to spend on travel every year, what you have to spend on visas, because you'd be surprised at what people don't know. And people are willing to help if they had that information.
That's
and so that's one of the takeaways that I took. Thank you, Renee, for that.
That's
very helpful.
And I found that so true, that there's 2 things that your partners don't know, and that is if you have too much money or you don't have enough.
It's true.
And that's what they're wondering. They're wondering, like, do they need help?
And when they don't hear anything, the assumption is you must be good. You must be okay. Fine.
All right. And so number 6 is use social media, email, mail, and visits. Visits are a big one. And we had one guy that's a great partner still today, partnered with us for years, and I was at his house and we were visiting him, and he said, you know, this other missionary says, when he's sitting in the airport, he'll write me a little note or whatever and say, he says, you never do that. And I said, what, did the other missionary come to your house? We come every year. We come and visit you. And so, you know, one's as good as the other. And the fact is, it's not a matter of getting it all right, but it's a matter of building that relationship with whatever means works for the people that, and that's a challenge for us. There's a lot of people that we communicate to through email, but probably half of our guys don't. And a lot of them we get Facebook, a lot of them, you know, that watch us on social media. But for everyone it's different. I mean, I got guys that are, you know, like from back in my age group that don't even have a computer. And so that's a visit or it's a letter in the mail. That's the only way you're going to get to them. And they give, you know, so. And
they want to give. And so be creative in your communication. If you're using letters or mail or messenger or those kind of things, make sure that you include photos. Pictures really help. Don't be so wordy, you know.
That's right.
Only my grandma used to like those letters.
Oh, I know, because she loves you. A picture in every communication. I do that even with our board members. Always a picture, because that picture, it's 1,000 words. Short, to the point, in your text. Don't overdo it. People actually, they do not read it.
That's right.
So keep that in mind.
For us, one of the things that we've done is that we've actually just put it in a schedule. So that we have a plan that every month on this day, a letter is written, put together with pictures, and sent out to our partners. And if you don't have a plan, you're going to think that you're communicating more than you are.
It's true.
And so it's good to have a plan that you can actually see, how am I connecting with people? And even if you have, I mean, you can't write 50 people in a day, but even if you connect with 2 or 3 people a day, right? Just, hi, I'm thinking of you, here's what I'm working on. then it just, you kind of get into that habit. And once it becomes a habit, it becomes a lot easier to maintain.
It sure does. It sure does, because so many times our minds get focused over here, totally forget what's going on the other side, but we can't. They're our partners. They're people that we're together. And another good thing, missionaries, is the book of Philippians is Paul's letter to his partners. And you can go through that and get some really good, powerful, scriptural-based, God-anointed ideas for how to communicate with your partners.
Yeah.